Up first, I'm joined by Pratik. Pratik is an SVP at Intuit and former CEO and co-founder of Applitix, the incubator of Argo. Previously, he was responsible for product development, operations, and customer support at Tentry and Data Domain, where his teams established themselves as market leaders for enterprise storage quality, usability, and customer satisfaction. Welcome to ArgoCon, Pratik.
Okay, so again, welcome to the Argo community, and apologize for that. I'm still trying to get a hang of this thing. So I'll start at the beginning. We're starting the Argo journey. We talked about the 4 projects that we have. We have Argo Workflows, CD, events, and rollouts, as I've just mentioned. And, going back to when we started, as I mentioned, in 2010 to 2015, Kubernetes and containerization were driving a major shift in the application delivery market. So in 2015, we founded Applitix to make it easy for enterprises to transition to a cloud-native platform. Now, we set out to create open source application delivery building blocks for this new and fast-growing cloud-native ecosystem. And by the way, along the way, we wanted to have some fun with it. So let's start with Argo. Why Argo? Well, when we decided to open source Argo, there was one thing we wanted. We wanted a memorable name that would tie into the Kubernetes nautical theme. And after a long search, many discussions, we decided to name it after the ship Argo, which carried the Greek mythological hero Jason and the Argonauts on their quest for the Golden Fleece. The name and the story behind it felt natural to what we were doing. We were on our quest to make it easy for enterprises to move to a cloud-native ecosystem. By the way, an Argonaut also happens to be a species of pelagic octopuses. And of course, we played into the octopus and discovery themes with the logo that you see today. Now, I still get asked this question: why is that octopus wearing a helmet? Please note, Argo's helmet is full of water, not hot air, like some of us. Okay. The Argo project we know today began with the introduction of Argo Workflows. This was the first real container-native workflow engine that could be used for any purpose, whether for CI/CD, operations orchestration, or data pipelines. It also was our first Argo blog and our first demo for the Kubernetes community. At KubeCon 2017, I still remember, I'm not sure whether it was the Game of Thrones image processing pipeline that we were showcasing at our booth, or Argo that generated so much attention and traffic at the booth. But needless to say, there was a lot of excitement about what was going on in this community at the time. 2018 was a very eventful year for the Argo project, to say the least. This is where Intuit came in. Intuit, as all of you know, is a financial services company. It's behind a lot of the successful products like TurboTax, QuickBooks, Mint, Credit Karma. And they were on their cloud journey and looking for a partner that could help them accelerate their cloud-native transition. After a series of meetings, starting at KubeCon, Intuit decided to acquire Applitix to build the company's modern SaaS platform. This is the platform which powers all Intuit products today. All products are built and run on this platform today. And in January 2018 marked the beginning of Intuit's role in building the Argo community. As we built and rolled the platform out to different teams at Intuit, it became clear that we needed a Kubernetes native continuous delivery solution. See, only a GitOps-based continuous delivery solution could scale to meet the needs of thousands of Intuit developers, deploying applications across hundreds of Kubernetes clusters with enterprise features like SSO, RBAC, high availability, security. Ultimately, this would not only speed development velocity, but deliver an awesome developer experience as well. Hence, Argo CD. And Argo CD was our first project that actually came out of the Intuit environment and continues to be one of the fastest growing projects today. In May 2018, another important juncture arrived in our community's growth. BlackRock open sourced Argo events, an eventing framework that's used to trigger Argo workflows in their Aladdin data science platform. From that day forward, they've been our trusted partner, maintainer, and key contributor to our success. Thank you, BlackRock. Also in May 2018, we were excited to mark another important milestone. Now, as I've mentioned before, Argo Workflows was the first open source container native workflow engine. Could easily scale to thousands of nodes. And in seeing that, the Google Kubeflow team decided to build Kubeflow pipelines using Argo, launching Kubeflow for ML Ops. This has been an incredible collaboration along the way. And in October 2018 at KubeCon, we demonstrated how to use Argo at scale in multiple sessions. Our ML Ops pipelines with Argo Workflows and Argo Events, or GitOps at scale with Argo CD. As you can see, the journey was just beginning, and we were getting a lot of traction in this market. Now, as Intuit has matured in GitOps and continuous delivery, we realized we also needed a Kubernetes native progressive delivery solution. A lot of our users and developers were used to doing blue-green canary deployments using their existing systems, but there wasn't a really native way that could actually play into Argo CD and Argo Workflows. So in May 2019 at KubeCon EU, we launched Argo Rollouts. And Argo Rollouts is a progressive delivery solution that can do blue-green canary deployments with automated analysis. Now think about the possibilities of these. Yes, we all do blue-green, we do canary deployments, but tying it to an automated analysis system in the backend to trigger rollbacks or growth. Think about tying it to a service mesh ecosystem and actually starting to do traffic shaping along the way. This has lots of possibilities, and I'm really excited to see where we go with this next. Now, as we open source more and more, and we start getting traction in the community also gains momentum. People get to know about it. We start to engage more. We start to partner more. And this was noticed. So let's take a look at that. In 2019, Intuit is proud to be recognized by Cncf for its Argo contributions as one of the very few open source projects by an end user company and also running Kubernetes at scale. And as the community grew, Argo is also accepted by Cncf as an incubating project, maturity level in April 2020. This was a pivotal moment for expanding partnerships, building governance, compliance. Argo is growing up now, and we all had to learn very quickly how to actually manage a project at this scale that was growing at this scale. So we spent a lot of time in learning how to manage open source projects, how to build the right level of governance, build the right partnerships, and grow the community. Now, fast forward to 2021, and you'll see just how far we've come as a community. Again, if success is written in the stars, these stats tell the story of our evolution from an open source project to an open source community. It's very easy to create an open source project, throw it out there, and see what happens. But the beauty about Argo has been the community, the way the community has come together, both from a commercial perspective and from an open source developer perspective. We stand at just over 17,000 stars. We have over 5,900 contributors. We have 200 reference end user companies that are using this and are not afraid to actually put their name down on the Argo website. By the way, another important caveat here has been that we've always treated Argo as a project and as a product. A big difference. When you start thinking about something as a product, you really have to start thinking about things like Do our users love it? Do they see what we're doing? What are the deficiencies? So we have consistently, followed our product development principles. And you can see that with the NPS scores of 68 and 66 for CD and workflows respectively. These are not numbers that are to be sneezed at, which means that the community has come behind. The developer experience is awesome and people love it. Now, I mentioned we have about 200 plus reference companies using Argo in production, at scale, and by the way, serving as references for others in our community to learn and use. This is a very small snapshot of the number of companies that are out there, but you can see the full list when you go to the Argo project website or GitHub repo, and you can see everyone that's making a contribution. Thank you very much to the community. Thank you very much for all of our users for doing this. Now, we're also very grateful to our corporate partners for continuing to drive the Argo momentum. Together with Red Hat, we formed a bootstrap committee to give Argo end users access to enterprise support and solutions. As the Argo project was growing, as the community was growing, I would get a lot of questions coming in from users, end users, asking me if Intuit was able to actually provide support and to actually work with them for their own custom solutions. Of course, we did not have that capability. And this is why we looked at all the external companies and partnerships that we're beginning to see, to grow that community and actually provide that platform for anyone that wanted to use Argo. So since then, our corporate partnership community has expanded with multiple maintainer companies behind it, including Red Hat, BlackRock, CodeFresh, Acuity, to complement our large community of individual contributors. And there are much more coming. Earlier this year, we also submitted a Cncf proposal to make Argo a graduating project. This is currently in the works, and we expect to hear a lot more on this. Moving forward, our community will continue to evolve with governance, open standards, and continue to drive innovation. This will encourage more vendors to expand the Argo ecosystem and deepen end user confidence. We need all your help to make sure this happens, and all of you need to get involved with the community to make sure that we continue to have the right level of governance, standards, and innovation. Now, it's been an awesome journey, full of many, many lessons learned. And personally, when I look back at this, I came in with no experience of building an open source community, learning about how to run an open source project. And there's been lots of lessons that we've learned along the way. First of all, don't underestimate the time and effort it takes to build a community. It's a lot of work, but it's so exciting. So exciting to engage with customers, with developers. I remember my first KubeCon. We had one of our first external partners, and we were all sitting in a plane going back from KubeCon, and we were sending messages to each other on the plane because we had just found this new customer, and she was so engaged about learning more about Argo. Those are the kind of things that I love to think about now. Secondly, it's important to leverage related communities to get the word out. Remember, this is a community. You don't start out on your own. You build bridges, you build the relationships, and look at what's gone on before you, and you leverage that. The third thing I wish someone had told me this was partner early to get the commercial support that people are going to need, because as companies come in, as companies start using this, there is definitely a need to have a support infrastructure. And I wish we had done that early, but I love what is going on right now. And at the end of the day, engaging with the community is rewarding. I stand before you today very humbled to see everyone here, see all the number of people, all the partnerships and everyone going on. And it's just amazing. Thank you. Now, Intuit is just one example of end user companies who are taking full advantage of Argo to accelerate developer velocity. Here's a snapshot of just how far we've come on this journey. So today, we're running over 250 medium-sized multi-tenant Kubernetes clusters across 4 business units with over 1,800 production services. Over 5,000 developers automatically build and run apps across these clusters with 1,000 deployments per day. We use Argo CD to manage both clusters and services following the GitOps model. We run over 4,000 ML workflows daily in both our ML and data processing platforms. And this is all in production in all over the apps that you're mostly familiar with. So after running Kubernetes at scale in production for many years, I'm proud of how far we've come on our journey. But more than that, I'm excited about how we'll work together to drive the future innovation that we need with this community. There are 4 key areas that I expect to see advancements in. 1, Kubernetes is still hard. At Intuit, I see that on a daily basis, right? We have front-end developers that still need to know about Kubernetes, and we'd like to remove that. So we need to abstract Kubernetes more from the application developers. Application abstraction is going to be a key area for us moving forward. GitOps, by the way, is great, but managing millions of lines of config code across hundreds of repos is hard, especially when you have to make platform level changes. Now, we follow GitOps to manage applications and clusters, but what about the rest of the infrastructure? Why follow different approaches for serverless compute or database? We need a GitOps model for cloud infrastructure. The other area that's interesting is we're collecting a lot of operational data from the platform now. As systems become more and more distributed and the cardinality of this data increases, it is getting harder and harder to isolate issues and problems when they happen. We need more real-time, highly scalable tools and platforms to provide actionable insights into the infrastructure and the application issues. And lastly, we recognize the critical importance and value of collaboration with other CNCF open source projects. I mentioned service mesh. That's a core area that Intuit is currently focused on as we start thinking about tying the other parts of our systems together. So with this, I'd like to close, one, with a huge thank you to all of you Argonauts. It's been quite a journey over the past 4 years. We're grateful for your contributions to date and really excited to see what the future holds as we take Argo to the next phase. I'm excited to see how this day plays out, but above all, join us. Join us on this Argo community, contribute code, share your best practices and lessons learned, and enjoy our first ever ArgoCon. And by the way, I wish I will be able to see all of you in person at the next ArgoCon. So thank you again.
That was amazing, Pratik. I loved hearing the background, the inception story of how Argo got its name and where we are. And we've got some questions in the chat if you have a second. Some people would like to know what you're most excited about on this Argo journey and where we're headed.
I think, Sarah, as I mentioned, I mentioned the 4 key areas that I want to focus on now. But in addition to that, I think the biggest area where I see Argo moving next is in the observability phase, because as I said, we're collecting a lot of information from our platforms. As we're collecting a lot of this information, what we're not getting is really the actionable insights that we would need to actually address issues that are happening on the platform, in a timely manner. So I think this is the most exciting piece that I see as the next evolution of this project.
That's awesome. So I heard you say earlier in your presentation that Argo is up for graduation soon, and people are wondering if you have a hard date on that. They're really excited to know what's going on with that.
So Argo is going through the CNCF Technical Oversight Committee. We have submitted Argo for graduation, and there is a process and a method, and we're getting through it. So, as soon as I know, you'll all know.
That's amazing. So I'd like to close out with telling everyone in the community, thank you, like Pratik said. Join us back in the chat here in the platform, or you can join any of the CNCF Argo Slack channels. We've got a community of people that are waiting to chat with you. And Pratik, thanks again.
Thank you very much, everyone, and have a great day.